Happy holiday season's greetings, and I hope you are all enjoying your Thanksgiving and beginnings of the Christmas season holiday as we bring you back in for another edition of 4th and 4, Week 12 in the NFL here as some games have already kicked things off. Again, hope you're all settling in from your turkey, ham, whatever you're calling it, and your big old meal over there with your friends, family of the like. Zach Conlon here sitting in and recovering from one of those, of course, holiday traditions with my family. And I bring in alongside with me my good buddies, pals, and co-hosts, of course, for this show, the folks from High-Low Sports, Kelcey and DJ Stewart. Gentlemen, happy holidays to both of you as we kick off officially the holiday season. To me, Thanksgiving, I'll be honest with you, I don't know if you guys think the same way. Thanksgiving is kind of my first stepping stone into the holiday season. I got to hit here, and I got to cut the turkey and have the turkey before I do any of the other holiday cheer. How do you guys feel about that?
Stretchy pants season. That is the moniker for the next 4 to 5 weeks.
Yeah, look, credentials are in the waistband. If somebody decides to skip over Thanksgiving, they are just blasphemous. Just get out of here for that. Like that's just sacrilegious. If you were in the United States and you are skipping Thanksgiving, shame on you. Wait to put up the Christmas decorations until the day after Thanksgiving. That's what Black Friday is for. You buy the Christmas decorations that morning, and then you put them up that night. That's all you do. You don't put them up beforehand. I don't want to listen to Mariah Carey for 25 days in November. No. Skip it. It goes to the end of Thanksgiving. This is it. Thanksgiving is too important. I have to have my turkey. I have to have my pie. Or in this case, this year, I had to have my steak. I had to have my mashed potatoes because I was too lazy to cook anything else. So, yeah.
Yeah. I got here's the other thing. I got plenty of leftovers from the folks that I brought home. And I'm talking, here's our thing. We did a hybrid one. So Thanksgiving we did on Thursday, 2 days later, and this is as we're recording today, by the way. So brought home a bunch of Christmas, quote unquote, items as well. Spiral ham, noodle bowls, which are like these Amish style egg noodles with like dill, celery, carrots, bacon. If you've ever had it, it's an incredible little treat or a great side dish or your main course, whatever you want to call it.
It's all
I got a bunch
above.
of stuff downstairs in my fridge right now.
See, this is the great thing about this. So I actually celebrate right back when I was unable to jump on the show for a couple weeks due to some unforeseen circumstances. I was down there with my family, and we actually celebrated Thanksgiving on like the 12th. So we did it like 2 weeks early. So that was super cool. But I didn't get to travel back with leftovers, though, because, you try to go on a plane with some giant bag of turkey. Those dogs do not like that. Well, they like the turkey. They did not like the idea of me going on the plane with the turkey, though. So I didn't make it through TSA, unfortunately, with all the fixings. Yeah, that was the sad part. So I didn't get that luxury this year. So the actual Thanksgiving day, I actually had to figure out something to cook myself. And DoorDash doesn't work on Thanksgiving.
Doesn't work on most days either. But I feel like the actual leftovers for Thanksgiving is better than the actual Thanksgiving dinner itself. Like that's all fine and dandy, but that's just heartburn and very much pain later on. But the leftovers you get for the next couple of days, that's where it's really at as well.
The folks
turkey
over
sandwiches on rolls.
Oh yes.
Turkey and ham sandwiches on rolls, just like easiest, simplest thing, and it's still probably one of the more delicious things.
I want to see somebody actually make that for Thanksgiving dinner itself. Like we're not doing the full turkey thing. Here's your sandwich roll with the turkey already pre-cut on. We made this earlier in the week. Here it is, and then serve it like sliders.
That's next year's plan, DJ. We're gonna get together and we're all gonna have turkey sliders on, but we're gonna make sure we do it on like animal themed paper plates, just to have it be a little bit more entertaining.
As long as whoever cooks the turkey understands it is a great responsibility. If that thing is unseasoned and looking pale after spending 2 hours in the oven, we're gonna have a problem. If the skin's starting to peel off of the legs because it was clearly overcooked, there's going to be an issue. That thing better be a golden, crispy shade of brown.
If I cut into it and it starts turning into dust, we're having a problem here.
That thing gobbles when I cut into it. There's going to be an issue.
Look, at least if it's gobbling. Hold on now. If it's gobbling, at least that way it's moist. It's not going to be all dried up and falling apart.
No, if it's slish and sloshes, that's fine. But if it gobbles and goes caw, it makes any sort of weird ass bird noises, then we have a problem. If it sounds like it's calling one of the NFL teams, or it could be a mascot for an NFL team, then we have an issue.
So it sounds like DJ's not hunting for his own turkey next year.
No. It sounds like if I'm going to hunt for it, I'm going to make sure it's cooked properly afterwards. I've seen some of these pictures when they post them on social media, like, we're so thankful for our family. And you look at that turkey and you're like, you're not very thankful for them if you're serving them that.
He demands them dead. He wants them dead. That's all he cares about.
how people order their steaks sometimes with a little bit of oink or moo in them. You do not like your turkey to have a little gobble in it, I see.
I would like to not have feathers in my mouth when I take a bite out of it. It's a pretty reasonable expectation. Just make sure it's cooked and make sure it doesn't look like you, and make sure it actually looks like you are thankful for the people you're serving it to. Because some of them you see on there, they do not look thankful. There's like, we're kind of hoping you choke on a few of these.
A good example. Yeah, here's a good example of that turkey. I do not want the turkey that was served from NBC Sports because apparently that was the driest turkey apparently that has been served anywhere. Some of the reactions, and I know Justin Jefferson has that grill, but like Adam Thielen apparently like spitting it out and just being disgusted at what he was eating.
He literally said that's dry AF and spit it out on TV. That was hilarious. And on that point, I will say, if you guys have meandered through the wide world of TikTok around Thanksgiving dinners, I've seen some meals on there that I'm like, what is wrong with people? My favorite was the canned ham. It's not spam. It's literally canned ham. Ew. That somebody took, then opened up another can of pineapple. That's pre-sliced pineapple. Put it on the ham. Put it in the oven. It comes out paler than any turkey you've ever seen. And then they put Frito-Lay's, regular Breakstick original Frito-Lay's crumbled up on top of it and said, "This is our Thanksgiving dinner." I've never shuddered and cringed so much about the thought of eating something, and I'm a picky eater. But, like, I'd eat anything over that at any time of the week. Like, that was, like, and this evidently is some, like, their family loves it. And it's not like they're from some faraway place. No, they're from Ohio.
Ohio's weird. We could go all day on this talking about proper Thanksgiving dinners as well, too. But I think the point is, if you're actually thankful for the people in your life, serve the food as you would agree, show it as you do.
If you don't know how to make it, call up Popeyes and get their Cajun turkey. Trust me, you'll be okay with it.
Or Google it.
Yeah, or just Google it. That works.
Or find somebody. There's somebody in that family that knows how to do it.
Some people can Google something and then it doesn't say like put water in the bowl before you microwave ramen noodles, and because it doesn't say put water in the bowl, they'll burn the house down. So maybe only Google if you have basic cooking skills down.
That's like Homer Simpson.
Well, that's kind of the prerequisite. If you don't have the basic cooking common knowledge down, stay away from the kitchen. Don't be handling that thick ass knife.
That might be another.
That's why they get canned ham, I guess.
Touche. There's more to this story than you let on. I think you buried the lead a little bit.
I'm a spam guy, and that sounds disgusting. It's just
like grilled spam is just what it is. Like, you know what? You grew up on it. It's just what it is. You know what? But canned ham is just nah, man. That's a whole nother level. That's up there with like anchovies. Like, you just don't do it.
No.
Don't submit yourself to that willingly.
I can't.
Well, if anyone was hungry coming into this, you're probably not now, so you're welcome in advance.
Yeah. Here, let's get you let's get you more of an appetite. I guess reinvigorating you for this weekend with what was I would say its own meal in their usual Thanksgiving lineup. I mean, come on, guys, it's 3 games on Thanksgiving. It's a tradition in its own right. Lions host a game, Cowboys host a game, and then Thursday night football on NBC generally has, I usually say, the better matchup of the 3. But honestly, I mean, all 3 of these games were pretty solid for their own thing. I'll be frank. Bills, Lions, my uncle and aunt, they're from Detroit. We had a bit of a celebration thinking just they might pull it off. But it's Buffalo, It's they've been chilling there. They rented the house last week. Now they get to be tenants for one more week. But I mean, look, between all 3, I mean, any instant thoughts on these games?
I'll start with that game you mentioned. The fun part about that is the Bills are the first team to win back-to-back games at Ford Field since 2016. They're the first team to do it since the Lions did in 2000. It's been 6 years since somebody pulled that off, so kudos to them. But it was a little concerning. It was great for the Lions to watch them compete with the Bills like that. It was a little concerning for the Bills seeing just some of the weird things they were letting up defensively, the weird offensive mistakes, you could say, the plateaus they seem to have. Still kicking, and they still haven't quite figured those out. Josh Allen might still be a little dinged up. And most importantly, the Von Miller injury is something to keep an eye on. Luckily, it's not a torn ACL, but we'll have to see how much time he's going to miss, what that's going to entail. I think that's the biggest thing I take out of this game as well, too. Is if he's gone for a significant amount of time, I'm not going to say Buffalo's done, but like that wild bull ride's starting to get a little bit more shaky now. And then for the Lions, they're going to be a real pain in the you-know-what down the stretch for some of these teams. They're going to ruin somebody's playoff chances. I don't know who. I don't know which team it is, but they're going to tank somebody's playoff shot down the line.
Yeah.
Honestly, they posted an image of the Bills in one-score games, they were like 3-9. And they needed to add the Lions into that record because you look at the Lions in the last 2 years, how many times have they lost by one game or less? It's got to be close to 14 times in the last 2 seasons. It's insane how many times they're going to play a close game and just keep getting almost there, but not quite enough. And also, we talked about how dry that turkey was for Minnesota. I don't think Stephon Diggs had that problem with this turkey. Nah. Like, he mowed down on this. And actually, he literally ate it for the entire interview post game. So I just had to share that image because we did talk about the Adam Thielen spitting it out. Stephon Diggs had no issue. Neither did Josh Allen or Tyler Bass. And by the way, shout out Tyler Bass, just continuing to win games for the Bills.
Mm-hmm. So we learned anything. The Bills and close games shaky, but CBS, they're the ones you trust with your turkeys. Duly noted.
Looks like so.
Well, CBS usually has that on lock. Yeah, I give them praise. I mean, here's something that I'll admit with at least this game, the matchup against Detroit. I think a lot of people are wondering, is this for Detroit's sake? Are they going on the right path? I do think that they might be on the right path this time, and they did. I mean, losing close to Buffalo, it still hurts, but 3-game win streak. They gave Buffalo 4 full quarters. It just came down to which was the more talented team. Clearly it's Buffalo, but I mean, for what it's worth, Detroit seems to be putting it together more and more as the year's gone on, where they're a scrappy team. You can't underestimate them in any matchup.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, it's impressive. I mean, look, Dan Campbell's got them going the right way. Eventually. Mm-hmm. Eventually they're going to cross that finish line, but that grit, determination, and all that stuff he talked about in Hard Knocks, it's finally... Yeah, it's finally getting there, man. It's disappointing me because they're always my perennial underdog. So I'm just like, you're gonna get there soon, guys. You're gonna get there soon, and now the injuries are kind of biting them in the butt too, with that secondary especially, which was already having issues with keeping people guarded. So now it's like, well, 4 stringers out there, rookies out there. But yeah, no, it'll be a matter of time for the Lions. I think what's going to be scary. I think DJ mentioned it. Down the road, not even just this season, but next season. I don't want to play them at home at all. I don't want to play them if I have a playoff chance. I don't want to play them if I just have a chance for winning a bonus as a player. I don't want to have the Lions on my schedule next week because I probably won't get that bonus. It's just not going to be easy.
And they still got a Ferrari starting to come out of the garage, and then no form of Jamison Williams that is starting to practice again as well too. They got a nice Ferrari they're about to ready to unleash soon too. So good luck everybody else down the stretch. You might win, but it's going to suck. And if you take them lightly, well. Lions and Tigers and Bears, you see why. The Lions, I think they're going to cause some problems down the stretch. Lannister always pays their debts, and that what their sigil's a Lion, so the Lions might be coming back for some debts over the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Without a doubt. Look, I mean, that one I think people saw as a potential, maybe not upset, but at least should be a fun game. I look at New York. I look at the matchup here in New York and Dallas. New York gave a bit more of a fight than I thought it would first half, but kind of faded as expected. I think injuries are catching up with Brian DeBall's crew just the whole year. They need to get healthy from the looks of it, but that does put to me, I do worry a bit on their playoff prospects with how this roster has been kind of getting banged up more and more so. How you guys feeling about them right now?
They're going to make it, but at the same time, I'm not feeling too comfortable. And you kind of saw the quote unquote, there's levels to this, and you kind of saw it. There's only so much you can do with coaching when you have a quarterback who has been shaky at best his whole career. No receivers to speak of for the most part, really. I mean, all of your high paid guys are gone. Wan'Dale Robinson's gone. Kenny Golladay plays 3 snaps a game. Darius Slayton's nice here and there. He gets a few big plays. You can't put everything on Saquon Barkley's back because eventually the good teams will put 10 guys in the box and say good luck. And then the secondary injuries, they're starting to mount up too. So Giants will get there. They've significantly overachieved, but you're kind of seeing why they are overachieving, not achieving what they were projected. You can see why they were projected to have a bit of a rough season. So good for Brian DeBall. Probably still leading the way for Coach of the Year, probably pretty comfortably.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think, unfortunately for the Giants, the one thing that really sucks beyond all the injuries that you're already dealing with is you just lost on the Odell sweepstakes. Out of this game, because you got to imagine Odell's not going to go to the Giants because they lost this game. Now he's probably going to be signing with the Cowboys because they now have the straightaway to get the NFC East. So now it's like if those were the 2 teams that he was legitimately considering, now you kind of have to consider that. Well, you missed out on that as well. So now not only do you have Wan'Dale Robinson out, but obviously the Kenny Golladay situation as well. That just never seems to resolve itself. Although I was super confused the other day when I watched the game because I saw a jersey number with a 1 that started it, and it looked like a 9, and I was like, Kenny Golladay got into the end zone, and I was super disappointed to find out it's some dude I don't even know whose name it is. That was scoring for the Giants. So it just goes to show you where they're at with their team. Darius Slayton, by the way, catch the ball first time, please. Don't keep catching it second and third times. You score a lot more touchdowns. I've said it for years, but he's still their best target at this point in time. He'll catch 50% of the balls you throw to him. So I guess that's a good option at least half the time. But yeah, and then Saquon. I don't know, man. I always feel like Saquon. Like I know he didn't really get injured, but you could definitely tell there were some plays he still gets up hampered, and you're just like, it's almost innocuous just watching him get tackled, and then just like he'll pop up and then like sort of like hobble back to the huddle, and you're just like, man, please don't get injured again.
Right.
Like, I need you healthy.
For the year, leaning on him so much as it's been, it's only going to keep going that way right now. I mean. I do wonder. This is kind of just because Daniel Jones, to me, it's funny. You're in your final year of your rookie season. You don't pick things up. To me, an uptick of a year, but one that you still ask: do you keep things going, or do you want to try and play ball? They're not really. I mean, the record's not going to help them in the draft to kind of pick up a QB. They have to trade up if they want to, but still going to be a potential playoff team with Daniel Jones. And you just figure, well, maybe if I give him a few other extra pieces around him and we see where we go, you're kind of in that middle ground with a QB at this point,
You're almost stuck. Like you have to give him like a 1-year deal and say, we're going to give you a buttload of weapons and see what happens. I feel like or you could let him go and try and pull we'll find somebody else situation, I guess, and try the rent a quarterback situation. But I feel like you are almost stuck with him at this point because it's going to be hard to trade up when you start that far back. It's really hard to get a high pick from that far away. So anything's possible, but I feel like you almost have to be like, all right, Daniel Jones, we're not giving you that Brinks truck because we've seen the last 4 years. You get like an F-150 truck of money, and then if you depend on what you do this year, when we pay you some skill positions, then maybe you can earn a Brinks truck.
I was thinking like a Chevy Colorado of money, a little bit smaller. But
either way, like the point is, it's not there's not as much as some of the other guys will get paid.
I think there's an opportunity here for the Giants to have the best of both worlds. And the opportunity would be to figure out how to get Kenny Golladay involved in your offense, make him a vital piece down the stretch, make him invaluable to a team next year, show that he still has talent. Because you go into the offseason and Kenny Golladay rattles off a couple touchdowns here at the end of the season, a couple 100-yard games, or even just 80-yard games and just like a high catch percentage and scoring touchdowns. Show that he is a weapon. Ship him off, get your early round pick, and then potentially, I think he's worth, if he shows out, like let's say the contract that he signed, he plays worth it at the last 4 games of the season. I think that would be enough for a team who is receiver, empty and is looking for a good receiver for next year, just maybe a rental. They would potentially take a chance on him for a year. It is a tough thing there, but maybe you can also package DJ in there, Daniel Jones in there, and get both of them, and that's how you get your top round pick. But yeah, I don't know. I think kind of like DJ said, you're kind of stuck in a way if you don't get that, because you're kind of, all right, well, he's not terrible, but he's not great. Not really anything we can improve in the market with him, unless Russell Wilson or somebody like that is available. Then Aaron Rodgers potentially. Well, and this Russell Wilson's not, but I do think after this season, Russell Wilson might come back to the Russell Wilson we all love and used to love. But I think Aaron Rodgers is a potential. I just don't know if he goes to New York. But you can't really you can't bet on any of those situations. So you're just kind of, well, all right, we're gonna see what happens. I guess.
I think it's the best interest for Kenny Golladay and the Giants to both have some sort of at least boost. Even if you're Kenny and you want to get away from New York, you're saying, well, this was a nightmare of a situation for me. Well, hey, get a few games to end the season. You're on the tail end of your prime years to try and capitalize on your value anyway. You might as well try and swing for at least a few good games and then see where you can go. You're not going to get a crazy amount of money like you did last time, but I think it'd be best to try, if you can, get back out there, hopefully produce some amount, and go from there.
They always say you want to get one big contract in your career, right? Well, he got that, so now he can go back to his small nickel and dime contracts for the rest of his career. That's fine, and he'll outperform those small contracts anyways if he can just stay on the field. Really, if he can just find himself on the field and not have whatever happened in New York happen again.
Without a doubt. Last thing I wanted to bring up, and it's because it's been talked about by, I mean, at least Pats fans have brought it up a crazy amount. Did Hunter Henry catch a touchdown?
Oh yeah, that was blasphemous. That was dumb. Like, that was the same as Des Bryant's situation, if not more asinine. But I digress. If that's not a catch, what is a catch?
I agree. That's the only thing I can say is I agree wholeheartedly with that. Hunter Henry deserves that touchdown catch. I don't know what the referees are seeing there. I mean, close-ups all show his hand under the ball. I don't know what they were seeing. I don't know what the issue is here. This is just insane to me. Absolutely insane.
Especially because you're overturning it. It's not like they called it incomplete and like, we don't know, so we're going to leave it. You said, we don't know, but we're going to flip it. That's what made it even more weird. It's like, if you said it was incomplete to start with and stuck with it, that's one thing. But how do you overturn that? How can you see and overturn that?
Yeah, that was harsh, especially for a game that was really, talk about a nightcap in itself. I mean, I think people have been, for example, Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, we know they have an explosive offense. You can make a case as one of, if not the best team in the NFC right now. Eagles fans could have their own say on that, of course, I think, and there's a few others in the NFC East, most likely the Cowboys. But, I mean, you look at, for example, on the other side of the fence, I mean, Mac Jones has been scrutinized all season, comes out with 382 yards passing and 3 touchdowns to just see that one go away. I mean, talk about it in a performance to be, I mean, you get undersnubbed by the loss, but it at least is a sign of some growth.
Just imagine if you had an offensive coordinator, right? Just imagine if you actually had an offensive coordinator.
If only, right?
Does Josh McDaniels want to come back? I mean, like, you can just be like, you know what, the Raiders, you can keep my contract. It's cool. This is not working for either of us. Like, let's just split.
Dude, Dave, Mark, I'll let you get all the guaranteed money back. Is that okay? I know you're cash strapped. Don't worry. We don't have to waste a second year. I'll just go back to New England, work with this young QB that needs clearly some stable mentorship.
And for a deal, we'll have Bailey Zappi sent to you for a 6th-round pick, so you have your quarterback of the future too. We'll swap Bailey Zappi for Josh McDaniels. There we go. Everybody wins.
There you go. Got options.
Hey, Bailey Zappi season, man.
And then Derek Carr's like, what the heck is this?
It's so hard because you do kind of root for Mac Jones in his own way, but at the same time, you're just kind of like, man, I really, really want to see Bailey Zappi go off, right? But yeah, at the end of the day, it's like Mac Jones isn't a terrible quarterback, and he's just really being shafted left and right by this lack of a OC situation. And I mean, you saw it, 328 yards. That's not something you just happenstance about. Like, you actually have to be a pretty decent quarterback to throw for 300 in the NFL.
How funny is it that as a rookie, he was arguably in the absolute best situation of all the rookie quarterbacks. Then in their second year, he's arguably in like maybe the second worst, maybe honestly the worst one. You look at it from those first-round rookies as well. How the turntables have turned.
Yeah.
By the way, just for that Hunter Henry conversation, here's the image. If you don't see it, and it very clearly, right there on top of a white line underneath the ball, there is a blue hand. That is his glove. You can see the fingers wrapping around the ball at the same point. He is in the end zone. And by the way, it shouldn't even have come to that point because he crossed the plane to the end zone with the ball still in the air, and that's where it should be dead.
And he extended the ball.
That is also part of the conversation.
Like, this is – so you guys remember the Zach Ertz one in the Super Bowl a couple years ago?
Yep.
Where he went down and then they called it incomplete. And then, that's what that kind of reminded me of. Like, unnecessarily trying to overthink this whole situation. And it's just like, come on, guys. Anyway, sorry. I pulled that up because I just wanted to make sure you got, like, for those that didn't see it, like, this is what we're talking about.
And for reference to, that's the worst camera angle out of all of them. Every other camera angle you find, it is even more.
You look at the side, the down the line shot, and it's even more clear that his hand is clearly under that ball. Because even if it bounces up, it goes right back into his chest. So by that definition, it never touched the ground anyway.
Yeah.
It's a double catch.
The graphics team couldn't find a good down the sideline or down the line look.
No, that's
but
just
they did a decent
point. The
job.
worst picture we find, and it makes the point better than most other things that are called a catch in the first place.
Yeah, no, but you're what is a catch anymore, guys? That's the question.
It's hard to say. Still is hard to say. Several years after the Des Bryant case, still is hard to say.
The worst part was that the worst playoffs as far as a catch goes, because you had Calvin the week prior, and then you have Dez the next week. Like, is that the worst situation?
Against the Bears too in that week one. Like, I don't know what's going on with the catch. Like, it seemed so simple not too long ago, and now it is a scientific formula. We have like the conspiracy theory boards behind you all over the place.
Yes.
Bears ruining catches forever. I blame it. It's all
the NFC North is the bane of catching.
Yeah,
that's why the Bears don't get receivers.
Yep, it's a curse.
It's a payback. You ruin catches, we don't give you receivers.
You know who gets affected by ruined catches the most? Bettors, which is a perfect segue into quarter number 2 for DJ's best bets and all other things that lead you into week 2. Presented by, and we'll let DJ, of course, explain this. Presented by Outlier. DJ, go right away here for our new sponsor of this quarter.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Zach, as well. And as you mentioned, our betting segment is now brought to you by our good friends over at Outlier. Outlier is a new betting app. Think of it like a database for all things betting. If you're a little bit shaky, maybe don't know the numbers as well, or you just like to see all of your options available, it's like a sportsbook you can find right on your computer as well. It has everything you need across FanDuel, DraftKings, all of the above as well. So definitely check out Outlier. Click the link in our bio, Outlier.bet/high-low-sports. Go get yourself a free sign-up, a 14-day free trial, and go ahead and check it out. For our first game, we're going to be talking about the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. And you know what? We're going to go ahead and take a look at Outlier a little bit as well, too, so we can kind of just show you what it looks like as well. So let's go ahead and open it up right here. Here's what it looks like when you are in the middle of the screen. We're going to go and scroll on down, find our way over to the Los Angeles Chargers and the Arizona Cardinals. In this game, what I'm looking at is an Arizona team that's depleted and a Chargers team that might be starting to get just a little bit healthy, at least on the offensive side of the ball. So I'm going to look at some receivers as well, too. And Mike Williams, once again, unfortunately injured with that ankle injury, just unfortunately can't get off the injury list. I'm looking for some of the receivers that can go off. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll on down to one of Kelcey's favorite players on here as well, too. Let me go and find his name. Keenan Allen, who's back in the fold, finally healthy for the first time in what feels like this year altogether as well. I'm looking at these odds, and for a touchdown, to just get over half a touchdown, which means to score one touchdown plus 130 odds, anytime touchdown, that's going to be the one I'm taking. So in this game, I'm looking at those plus 130 odds for Keenan Allen to score an anytime touchdown on there. And as you can see, if you're feeling really feisty and you think Keenan Allen can go off for 3 touchdowns, those plus 5,000 odds are right there to tempt you a little bit as well, too. So check out Outlier. Click the link in our bio, as we just recently mentioned as well, too. Go and get started for sign up. Just see what you like about it as well, too. Give it a try as well. It's a free 14-day trial, and after that, there is a subscription you can join afterwards as well, too. Make betting simple. That's kind of the main goal, is like make betting as simple as possible.
And bet smarter. That's the important thing. Bet smarter. Because if you guys didn't notice on those, there's some little bars up there. These are my favorite things about it. It tells you the 10-game trend. So you can see on there, you see these the red and green bars. Green means good, red means bad. Now, if you look at Keenan Allen's right there, obviously his is due to injury, why they're all red. But then, in a lot of them, you see a lot of green in there. Nick Chubb is a great example of them. On here, actually, it would probably be really good to have Austin Eckler be pulled up for his touchdowns, at least one touchdown a game type of situation, just for the games he's played. I mean, it just helps you be a little bit more intelligent with your bets, not waste your money as well. As you can see right there, 6-4 in his last 10 games. So great opportunity for him to get that. However, you see that and you're like, oh, wait, but that's why he has minus 200 odds. That's why you're not going to get as much money on that situation, because he has trended very well in those situations. But yeah, definitely check out Outlier.bet. That's absolutely fantastic. Bet smarter, bet better.
I'm glad you guys pointed that out. I love the 10-game tracker, because this makes things so much better for trends easily. And I'm going to reference that in some of my picks when we get started here. Just going to say that.
Well, you know what, Zach? We're going to spend it right to you now. Cardinals, Chargers. We saw where I'm going with Keenan Allen. We saw a little bit of those trends all red, but I think he's finally healthy. And you know what? Someone's got to catch these passes from Justin Herbert in Arizona. They got to find a way to stay on the field offensively. Zach, what are you looking for in this game as far as where you're willing to put your money at?
Yeah, they do. Well, look, Kyler Murray getting back into the fray, too, is another thing you're going to be watching in this game. Reports are saying he looks, quote, sharp going into Week 12, so that's nice to see coming off injury, and that's just off their camp, so maybe that's PR spin if you want to put it that way. I see you, DJ.
He's always sharp, and then Call of Duty's comes out.
Oh, no, of course. Online, absolutely. Sharpshooter himself. I'm going to go with the trends on here with rushing yards for a game. Right now, the over-under is 27.5, and I'm going to use the 10-game tracker for Outlier. Outlier currently, the last 5 games, he has broken that, and is plus 110 odds to get that if you wanted the over on this. My money's on that. Not to mention the Chargers in terms of rushing. They are 30th in the NFL. I know that sometimes that leans more to traditional rushing scheme, but trust me, I think that you can find some opportunities against the Chargers with a little bit of a porous rush defense. So, yeah, plus 110, trends going the right way. He's coming back. Sign him up. I'm going to take him.
All right, I like it as well, too. And you know what, Kelcey, we're going to now pass over to you. What are you looking at for Chargers and Cardinals?
Yeah, so I'm actually going. I'm usually the one that takes some outlandish bets, right? This time, I'm actually looking at one that's a little bit of a safer pick. I'm more looking to pair it with a larger parlay for this game, if you were, with the rest of our picks. So this one's kind of the safe pick of the group, if you will. And that's James Conner to score 1 touchdown. And the one cool thing I'll say about Outliers, it shows all his trends, like I said, the 10 games, but it also shows how many touchdowns he did score in those 10 games when you actually go into his profile for that bet for touchdowns. So it actually shows me he has a trend of scoring 2 touchdowns a game, followed by a game of scoring 1 touchdown, and another game of scoring 1 touchdown. Well, guess what? He's coming off 2 touchdowns 2 games ago, 1 touchdown a game ago. Guess what he's about to do right here? He's scoring another touchdown tonight. Though, give me a James Conner to score anytime touchdown, rushing the ball. So, why not?
You know what? I'm sure there's a lot of fantasy owners that'd like to see that as well, too. It's unfortunately injuries and some rough times for the Cardinals this year have definitely mitigated some of those options as well, too. So next we'll move on to our game, which before the season, this could have been game of the week. It's even branded as one of the games of the week. Unfortunately now, not so much, as we got the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Los Angeles Rams. And we're going to go right back here. We're going to take a look at our screen again, because there's one that sticks out to me that I want us to look at. I'm going with Travis Kelcey 2 touchdown score, which doesn't seem too asinine, but when you look at it, just look at this absolute crazy numbers for scoring over half a touchdown. Look at all of that green. There is a whole lot of green in there. Look at 1.5 touchdowns, which basically means he scores 2 touchdowns. Not a lot, but there's 2 greens in there. And then there's points where he scores 3 or more touchdowns with these same weeks as well. So I think he's going to follow it up this week. I think we're going to see another double-digit touchdown week. I think we're going to see probably 2 of them. Who on the Rams is going to guard him? Who on the Rams is going to stop anybody at this point? Unfortunately, that defense has really fallen off a little bit. That offense doesn't look like Stafford's going to be at the helm. No Cooper Kupp. They just released Darrell Henderson. So Cam Akers, who demanded a trade, is still around. So they're a mess, I think, is an understatement with the Rams right now. Kansas City's going to get a lot of options, a lot of opportunities. I look for Travis Kelcey to cash in on a couple of touchdowns here as well, too. And those odds, too, plus 340, I feel pretty safe with those ones, too. So if I'm adding that to a parlay as maybe just to boost up the overall odds, that feels about as safe as you're going to get for a plus 340. So give me Travis Kelcey 2 touchdowns in this game against the Rams. Kelcey, we're going to go back to you. What are we thinking for the Rams and the Chiefs?
Yeah, so I'm gonna stick with you on this one, and I'm gonna pull up the Outlier app as well and show everybody what I'm kind of looking at here, and that is these nice little insights into the game. And I'm really looking at Patrick Mahomes' passing touchdowns. He has exceeded 2.5 passing touchdowns in 6 of his last 8 games, 3.1 passing touchdowns per game average, which means he has 3 touchdowns to go around. So DJ has him getting 2 to Travis Kelcey. And I'm going to scroll up here, and I'm going to tell you who my one pick is for the extra touchdown. That's Jody Fortson, the other tight end. I went with Justin Watson last week. He barely let me down. He had great opportunities to catch 2 touchdowns. Fortunately, didn't do so. But Jody Fortson here, 1 touchdown anytime, plus 700 odds. And you can see right here, doesn't have great odds in my favor. Like, the trend is not in my favor at all here. But that's what these long shot bets are about. So I do want to share that because it is really cool having the insights here. And then, you see the Patrick Mahomes insight and you're like, all right, well, where's the extra touchdown going to go to? I got to go into Jody Fortson here for plus 700 odds.
Okay, I like it as well, too. Look at that. But 40, so you know what? There's going to be a lot of people are going to be mad if he scores a touchdown because he is not on a lot of fantasy teams as well, too. So I look forward to that one. But some people who might win some money. So, Zach, we're going to go into you. What are we looking at with the Rams and the Chiefs?
I'm actually going to go, and this was harder this week. I'm going to go with my kicking bet here on this one. Right
Favorite
now, all the
Kelcey.
yeah, I mean, all the numbers right now are Harrison Buckner based. If you're looking right now on this that I can find, but here's the thing I like with the Outlier app, and I'm going to kick into this because I'm looking at either right now the unders on the extra points or the field goals. Right now, the trend's better for the field goals if you want it at plus 114 for Caesars. However, if you wanted to boost your odds or look for a better plus average here, you can always choose from the other books. So MGM actually has better odds for a lot of the kicker ones this week in Harrison Buckner's favor. For example, if I want to do extra points, and credit, the trend is a little rougher if you want to go that way. It's 2.5 for the under. So in theory, and it's based on the Rams defense, I don't see that as implausible as going with making it a field goal game where you only have 2 touchdowns, but it also depends on how much the Chiefs defense plays into this and maybe makes a few key turnovers. Nonetheless, if you want MGM odds, it's plus 140. Caesar, as we've been using this year, is plus 126. I'm just saying, if you wanted to check around, that's something that I find is nice. However, if you're sticking with our Caesars numbers this year, I would say for a safer bet, go with the made field goals at the under 1.5. I do feel that with the Rams' uncertainty under center, that's going to add into the Chiefs' favor, maybe to cause a little havoc. Plus, I mean, no matter what, with or without Tyreek Hill this year, Patrick Mahomes and company, they figured out how to just score in bunches. It was never a problem whatsoever. So I think you'll be able to. I think either way, you might have to gamble. I think the field goals under 1.5 is a little bit safer of a choice that you can possibly land on.
Absolutely. And interesting enough, none of us took any of the Rams in this one so far as winning the game outright or taking the money lines or any of the spreads. And you know what? I don't blame anybody here because I'm not touching that one either because I have no idea what's going on there. So the last game we have to look at, we're looking at Tampa Bay versus Cleveland. And this one, the over-under is sitting at 42 points. And surprising to most, I'm going to take the over. And I'm going to bring back our good friend here at Outlier. Just look at some head-to-heads here really quick. So right now we're looking at Tampa Bay's recent schedule. They have let us down a lot when it comes to taking the over and the under. As you can see, there's a whole lot of under there. Their only over is against Baltimore, but they're under against Carolina, under against Pittsburgh, under against the Rams and the Seahawks in recent games that they won. But we're going to look at their opponent is why I'm feeling pretty good about the over. And we're looking at the Bills, right? Or not the Bills, excuse me, the Cleveland Browns. Against the Bills, they get shellacked, but somehow get some garbage time point hits the over. Against Miami, they get smacked up and down the field, hit the over. Cincinnati, they hit the over in a dominant win. Baltimore, they hit the over. New England, they get ramrodded but hit the over. One way or another, whether it's them putting up points in bunches or them giving up points in bunches, they will find a way to get the over for us as well too. So whether it's a Cleveland blowout or they let Tom Brady walk up and down the field, or maybe Nick Chubb goes ballistic to counteract it, either way, I feel really comfortable about this game with the over set at just 42 points. You're telling me it can't be 23-20. I feel pretty comfortable with it hitting that. So give me the over in this one. And Kelcey, I think you're thinking along the same lines as me with this one as far as a lot of touchdown scored. So I'll go to you first on this one.
I am actually thinking along those lines. And I'm also going to, like I said, we're going to keep pulling this up because this is just too helpful. I'll go with Nick Chubb, 2 touchdowns anytime. But look at this trend line. Very interesting trend line here for the last 10 games. As I maximize the screen, you can see after every game where he scores at least 2 touchdowns, he goes off for a week, doesn't get there. Scores 2 touchdowns, off for a week, doesn't get, and then he scores 2 touchdowns. Well, guess what? 1 touchdown last week, off a week. Guess what he's doing this week? He's scoring 2 touchdowns. So give me Nick Chubb, 2 touchdowns anytime. And as Zach had pointed out, you can check it out here on the right-hand side. FanDuel plus 500 odds, DraftKings plus 450, MGM plus 250. Cool thing is you can actually take all these parlays that we've talked about. All my picks, I can take them all, add them straight to my bet slip, and place all my bets on that today. So that's what I'm talking about. I took a safe bet for one of the games, while the other games I took a little bit of a flyer. But yeah, Nick Chubb plus 500 odds here on this game. I absolutely think he's just going to have an absolute blast with this game.
Absolutely. Run defense has been a little shaky to say for the Buccaneers, considering the standard they have set the last few years with Vita Vea stopping 3 people all at once with it by being the absolute bulldozer in the middle. So, Zach, for what are we looking at now as Tampa Bay travels up to Cleveland to take on the Browns?
Well, it's funny. We talk so much about Cleveland being a run-heavy, run-first team, and, that is mostly the case. I mean, Amari Cooper does show flashes, and Jacoby Brissett's kind of just kept the ship at bay at times. He's not been too flashy. But if you're looking for at least upward trends of some statistical type of bets that you want to look at, Donovan Peoples-Jones. If you look at the over-under in the receiving category, 3.5 right now. Now, credit, well, Caesars has plus 120, but if you want to boost it for the over, it's plus 131 for over 3.5 receptions. And I don't know about you, look at that 10-game trend. It is green, 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 go, go, go on 3.5 receptions for these games. Plus 131 on FanDuel, and it's pretty high odds that you'll be able to land that. If I'm talking parlays, I'm throwing that parlay on there for a Donovan Peoples-Jones choice. Hell, or if you just want to, or for me, like I like chipping in $10 bets, I'm throwing $10 on that because I think that's a pretty good trend. If I'm one of you guys, and again, betting's not certain, but I'm just saying this does help if you're looking at trends and you're that type of trajectory type of guy like we've been talking about. I like this type of stuff, so that I'm leaning on. And I was looking at that for maybe Amari Cooper landed. I was surprised I found Peoples-Jones being the guy that's getting the receptions totals that are surprising some folks.
He's the not double teamed one.
Yes, of course. Well, that also helps too. But I mean, for a run first team that the Cleveland Browns are,
yeah,
I'll take it.
And let's not forget, it's Jacoby's last game as the starting quarterback of the Browns right now as well, too, barring some sort of shakeup, as Deshaun Watson set to return next week. So you got to imagine he's going to be out there looking to throw some darts as well, which means there's going to be plenty of people's eating.
Last game of the year, Brent. Can't hold anything back now.
Exactly. We were waiting all year for it. It's finally here as well, too. So I like that bet as well, too. And once again, check out Outlier, link in our bio as well, too. But that's going to take us now to DJ's Best Bets. Once again, also brought to you by Outlier. Use a little bit of Outlier to put this one together. So here's what we're looking at for our parlay this week. Right now, Carolina versus Denver, the over-under is at 36. Well, we've all seen the stat with Denver. You take the under every single time because if they could have scored 20 points a game, they'd be the best team in the NFL. That defense has been elite. Carolina's defense has been underratedly pretty good, minus that one Joe Mixon explosion a few weeks ago. They've been pretty decent for the most part, especially in recent weeks. And even if they're not that decent, it's not like Denver's offense is anything to be scared of. And we already know about Carolina's offensive deficiencies. Sam Darnold once again at QB. Take the under 36. Kenyon Drake, anytime touchdown for Baltimore. Last week a bit of a rough game there. So against the Jaguars too, you got to imagine last time the Ravens played Jaguars, everybody ate. So I imagine we're going to see Kenyon Drake at least cross the end line at least one time as well. Then the last one, Tua Tagovailoa, 2.5 passing touchdowns. We're going to take the over on that. They're going against Houston. They're coming off a bye week. Mike McDaniel's been in the lab this whole time, sitting on the beach, crafting up some of the most ridiculous-looking plays. Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Tua is arguably an MVP frontrunner right now. Look for them to go points galore across the way. If they want to sit in that cover 2 shell, we know Mike McDaniel will run the heck out of that ball. He's not scared to hand it off 20 times to the running backs. Get a safety down. Tua is going to throw a laser right behind it. So feel comfortable with that. That's going to put us at plus 1,543 odds. So you bet $1, you win yourself a nice little $16. You want to bet some more? You might win a little bit more with that one. So we've been hitting on a pretty good amount when we look at the parlays as well as just our individual bets throughout the year. If you're having some questions, you want to put some tweaks on this, click the link in our bio, Outlier.bet /high-low sports. Try your 14-day free trial. Give it a try. See if you like it. Helps you win some money. Maybe put that into a subscription as well, too. Helps us out a lot if you wanted to click that link in our bio, and it helps you win a lot of money. A nice little ROI, return on investment. So that'll do it for our betting segment here as well. We're now going to transition into fantasy football, which we don't have Jim with us as well, too. So we'll be passing this one around.
Yeah, and before we go on to quarter 3, let me just go ahead and also mention, starting next week, every one of DJ's best bets, we will have that bet slip, a link to it in the description as well. So once you get your free trial, we'll also be dropping those in there for. So if you want to try DJ's best bets, you can go right to Bet Outlier and click on it right there, and you can just bet at your favorite sportsbook at that point in time. So it's going to be super cool, super easy for you guys as well, starting for that. But like DJ was saying, we're heading over to quarter 3, which is your fantasy starts and sits. And guys, I guess I'll start this one out. We're going with the quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson versus Jacksonville, sitting at a 63% completion percentage, coming off of last week, 15 points, versus Tua, as DJ just talked about. Man, this guy's ready to go. 71% completion percentage on the season. Potential MVP, question mark. Also coming off a bye last week, so he's ready to go. Guys, who do you start? Who do you sit?
Go ahead, Zach.
Yeah, I was going to say, I early on I was going to say Tua, and then I took a second look. I went, this is still tough, but I got to go Tua. I don't know. Houston, and as more and more as the year's gone on, it feels like it went from a scrappy team to one that's more in shambles than we originally projected. They're also switching things up at QB. That Miami defense is no slouch, and I just think Tua is just getting on fire at the right time. I think that's it. I also think that, Baltimore's dealing with a few extra injuries in the receiving core that's not fully helping out Lamar Jackson at this stage in the season. I got the Dolphins throttling the Houston Texans, and you're going to get your points off Tua Tagovailoa.
So I like both of them to put up a lot of points. I'll just put that out there now. I think both of them are going to clear 2020. They're going to clear their projections. My only concern with Tua is we've seen the Texans kind of struggle stopping the run. And I'm worried that Mike McDaniel is clearly not afraid to hand the ball off 30 times to Raheem Mostert, Wilson, Ingold at fullback if they want to. So I am mildly concerned that they will just run the heck out of the ball and Tua won't have to throw it. But by all accounts, give me Tua on this one as well too. I mean, I just said I feel like it's safe. He's going to get you 3 passing touchdowns, even if they're just red zone touchdowns. So give me Tua, but I think both of them are going to cook this week.
I like it. I respect it. I'm personally going to go with Lamar just because I think it's that time of the season where we start to see Lamar take over again. We see it kind of every season where if they're getting into that playoff stretch, they have a great chance to get to the playoffs. And their offense, maybe the receivers are not quite there. Somehow Lamar has a couple big weeks back-to-back to get them going on their way. I do think this is kind of the week where you do it, and it can't be a better time than Jacksonville right now. Just absolutely giving up oodles of points to quarterbacks and oodles and oodles and oodles more. And I just wanted to use the word oodles a bunch of times, but Lamar Jackson, give me Lamar. Again, though, like DJ said, both guys are going to exceed their projections this week. Tua has been absolutely destroying. He's a top 10 quarterback fantasy-wise this season as well. So you can't – honestly, if your choice is between the two of these, I don't envy you because – actually, I do envy you a lot because that's a luxury choice, if we're being honest. But that's going to take us to running back. And – DJ, did you have anything to add before we go to running back?
Nope. I was going to say running backs. We have a similar type of story coming up.
Exactly. If you have an issue between these two, we got CMC versus the rocking out Austin Eckler. Look, Austin Eckler's been rocking out all season. He continues to rock out since he came into the league. No other running back has more touchdowns off of receptions than Austin Eckler. More fantasy points than any other running back off of receptions. Period. So not only is he a run threat, but he is also a threat in the receiving game. Whereas you have QB CMC on the other side versus New Orleans, and again, if your problem is that you have CMC or Austin Eckler, please send me an invite to your league next season. That is the only thing I can ask.
How can you not play both of them? What does your team look like where you're deciding here?
Yeah, exactly. Like who is your third option? So guys, DJ, we're gonna start with you on this one. Who do you take, Austin Eckler or CMC?
Give me Austin Eckler. New Orleans defense is pretty good, and they split the carries way too much with him and They just split the carries a lot there as well, too. So Mitchell, excuse me, that's who I was thinking of, Elijah Mitchell. So they just split the carries a lot there. So give me Austin Eckler and 69 receptions on the season. Austin Eckler in those points per PPR leagues, he's an absolute darling. So give me Austin Eckler. Plus, you see the big difference in that graphic was the touchdowns. That's where Eckler has shined this season.
Mm-hmm.
Zach?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to go with Eckler here, though I do think the matchup, if you are looking at Christian McCaffrey in terms of, statistical matchups, New Orleans right now, not as great of a season on the run, bottom half of the league in terms of rush at 23rd. However, I also want to point out, I think it's Jimmy Garoppolo who's been stepping things up. That passing game for San Francisco has really been lighting things up, and I think that's what's going to be hurting you for CMC is that they're hitting their stride right now. New Orleans, though they're 7th ranked in the passing category, I think Garoppolo has a day as well as Ayuk or Deebo Samuel. Eckler's set up, I think, for more success just on more of his advanced role with the Chargers.
Fun fact between these two running backs, if you had to look at the receptions list for running backs since Austin Eckler entered the league, number 1, Austin Eckler, number 2, CMC. Fun fact.
What are the odds?
CMC is just as much of a threat in the passing game, which is why I'm going CMC in this one. Christian McCaffrey, since he's joined the 49ers, they have been absolutely on fire with him. He looks like Christian McCaffrey coming out of Stanford. He looks refreshed, rejuvenated. Getting out of Carolina has helped him so much. It's nothing against Austin Eckler. I love Austin Eckler. I just think CMC and that New Orleans, going against this New Orleans defense at the right time, that New Orleans team is not going in the right direction. So I think this is a situation where CMC is going the right way. So I'm going to go CMC in this one, which then takes us to our next position, guys. Wide receiver. We're going A.J. Green versus Amari Cooper. Hopefully A.J. Green stays away from the Chipotle, and Robo Arms Amari Cooper is going to catch pretty much everything, it feels like. So Guys, what do you think of this one? Zach, we're going to start with you.
Well, A.J. Brown, I will say.
Oh, sorry, A.J. Brown, not A.J. Green. My bad.
Okay.
Throwback to the old days, right?
I'll tell you, I would have loved to debate this if it was A.J. Green in his prime. A.J. Brown against Green Bay. I'm going to be honest with you. Both of these are kind of a unique matchup because, quite frankly, you have Cleveland, who's, of course, hitting the ground running with their run-first mentality. In terms of Green Bay, well, they are horrible at the run defense, and this is definitely not going to be in favor of A.J. Brown. I digress, though. I'm actually going to go with Amari Cooper simply for the fact I think the game flow goes a little more towards what the Cleveland Browns will have to do at some point, which is I think they're going to be tossing the ball a little more once they get a little out of hand. Cooper might be double teamed, but as we've seen all year, man can still get up and snag some pretty catches when it comes down to it. I got Amari Cooper for this, but it's a hard choice between the two.
Okay.
Absolutely. Well, for me, I'm going to stick with Amari Cooper as well because I'm worried A.J. Brown is a little bit too much of a big play threat. When he does go off, holy moly, like those 4 touchdowns against the Steelers. But on a week-to-week basis, I get a little bit nervous with it as well, too, because he goes off in such massive explosions. And while Green Bay is very likely, there is still Yair Alexander out there who can make life a little bit difficult. And Devontae Smith in the way they run the ball and the way Green Bay doesn't defend the run. I feel a little bit safe with Amari Cooper. And as we mentioned earlier, last game of the year for Jacoby Brett can't hold anything back now. I think that could feed its way to some Amari Cooper just screw it number 2 out there somewhere, letting it fly. And Amari's been a really good touchdown scorer this year, even more so than previous stops in his career. So I think he could be their main red zone target.
Yeah, I'm going to go with you guys. Amari Cooper in this one. I think this comes down to the secondary they're facing. The secondary in Tampa Bay has had a lot more holes. Plus, there's not a guy by the name of Yair Alexander that would be guarding him. So that's really nice. And also, it won't be 43 degrees when they play. It's going to be a little bit warmer in Cleveland than it is in Green Bay, surprisingly. So that's going to make me think Amari Cooper's might have a little bit of a better day here. Plus, everything you guys mentioned, Jacoby's last game. He's going to be ready and willing to air it out. And that takes us to our flex position. We have Scary Terry McLaurin versus Atlanta or David Montgomery versus the New York Jets. David looking like he's running away from that Thanksgiving dinner he ate on Thursday. So hopefully he's not getting that dry turkey this weekend. But what do you guys think? David Montgomery or you have Scary Terry? DJ, we're going to start with you.
Give me Scary Terry because there is no Justin Fields for the Bears this week by the looks of it. That's going to be a Trevor Siemian-led offense, and you know darn well that Robert Saleh is going to put 13 guys in that box and say, Sauce Gardner, you just cover all 4 of those receivers by yourself, and I will take those odds. And you know what? I don't blame him. So there's going to be very thin running lanes for the Bears. So give me Terry McLaurin. Maybe not touchdowns, as you can see. They can't get him in the end zone very often, but just a few big plays here and there. And him and Taylor Heineke, they got a connection. He doesn't have the connection with anyone else on the team. It's almost the passing game is virtually Terry McLaurin or bust. So I like the idea of Terry McLaurin getting involved this week.
Zach, I know you're the Bears fan, but I'm going to let you go last. So I'm going to say Scary Terry on this one. I'm going to get that out of the way for all the reasons DJ pointed out because of that Taylor Heineke connection. The XFL connection, by the way. So, Zach, That's going to lead it to you because you are our XFL guy and the Bears fan. So who are you going between this? You going to go with your XFL connection that Taylor Heineke has, or you going to go David Montgomery, your boy?
All I'm going to say is don't let Atlanta's defense fool you last week. It is definitely a god-awful passing defense. Scary Terry and Taylor Heineke are going to tear it up. You're going to get your numbers with Terry McLaurin. In terms of against the Jets, I mean, look, the Bears, I don't know what to tell you, really. I mean, Montgomery might get something, but this is the Jets defense that only gave up 3 points on their own possessions last week to the Patriots, and the Bears are going in with basically scraps of tinfoil at this point without Justin Fields out there. So, yeah, I'm going with Terry McLaurin. Seriously, Atlanta, it was the Bears' offense. Don't be fooled, people. It's Atlanta's defense in the secondary is garbage. Take Terry McLaurin, please.
All right, there you go. You heard it from the man himself, which is going to take us into defensive talk. San Francisco 49ers versus New Orleans or the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Colts on Monday night. I mean, look, guys, this is a tough one here. Maybe I don't actually know if it's a tough one for anybody here. Really, guys, where are you guys going, DJ?
Give me Pittsburgh's defense. They've been a little bit rough. TJ Watt is back, though, and they're a different team when TJ Watt plays, and who on the Colts is going to block him? They don't block anybody. Plus, there's still Cameron Hayward. Matt Ryan's not going anywhere. You saw their run defense is still good, so Jonathan Taylor's not going anywhere. That game's going to – whatever the under is, I don't care if the under 6 you were taking that game. That is a soccer game with a different shaped football. So give me the Steelers. They'll probably force a couple of takeaways. New Orleans, honestly, they're not that great offensively either, but Chris Olave can get loose. So give me Pittsburgh this week for defense.
By the way, 37.5 is the under, which is
give me that under.
tied for the lowest of the week with Denver and Carolina. Zach, where are you going in this one? Pittsburgh or San Francisco?
For the sake of argument, I am going to go with San Francisco. As we were talking, I think you convinced me when we were talking about McCaffrey. New Orleans is trending in the opposite direction right now. San Francisco is firing on all cylinders across the board, and that includes defensive presence at this time. No offense to TJ Watt whatsoever, because I can see that one popping. But I'm going to take San Francisco on this. Maybe Jeff Saturday's giving me good vibes. I don't know what the hell I'm doing anymore, but I will stick with the 49ers. I like where they're trending across the board.
So we're both in agreement, so that they were going to both go off because they're going against some garbage offense, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, Matt Ryan's still a statue. Doesn't matter who's head coach.
Both the statues.
Yeah, so I'm going to actually go with San Francisco with you, Zach. And the biggest reason why is I don't like picking a defense that has Jonathan Taylor on the other side that they're facing, especially when they're bottom 8th of the league in points allowed. So I just think Jonathan Taylor's going to have fun. And Jeff Saturday, 3 weeks now. We'll see if he's able to get that offensive line working the right way. But that'll take us into Jim's Boom of the Week. And speaking of running backs, it's King Henry, Derrick Henry himself. Projected to 18.94, coming off 26 points. Last week, I'm not sure how much more he's expecting him to boom, but that's Jim's Boom of the Week. I'm not going to question it. I'm just going to let it go with that. Any comments on that, guys?
Seems safe.
Yeah, seems safe. All right, there we go. Quarter 4, primetime pick'ems. We have got through there, and we're going to go through these pretty quickly. Last week, we had DJ going 10-3, and the rest of us 8-5, so much improved week. We have a close one at the top here. 93-59-1 is Zach. 2 games behind him is DJ, 91-61-1. I'm sitting 5 games behind DJ at 86-66-1, and right on my tail, 3 games back is Jim, 83-69-1. So, guys, we've actually improved our records. Congratulations. I can't wait to see how you guys end this because you guys are pretty much picking the same except for one every week. So it'll be fun to watch down the stretch for sure. But we're going to get right into the primetime pick'ems. We got Kansas City versus L.A. All of us are going Kansas City. I don't even need to hear a reason why. I think we all know. No Matthew Stafford means no worry in L.A. So Kansas City going to have an absolute blast in this one. Steelers Colts. Ooh. We're split on this one. So, you know what? You got 30 seconds to make your case. Zach, make your case.
Simply put it, I think as Kelcey was putting out, I think it's Jonathan Taylor that helps to kind of steady out some things, possibly with TJ Watt's presence coming back. I also don't trust fully what Pittsburgh has in terms of Kenny Pickett. I do think Indianapolis at least has a competent enough defense to slow things down on that side of the ball. That's why I'm sticking with the Colts.
DJ?
I don't trust anybody in this game besides TJ Watt. So I'm going back. I don't trust any of those guys. All Kenny Pickett has to do is avoid number 5 on the Colts, and he'll be just fine.
All right, there you have it, guys. Don't trust anybody in this game, which is going to take us to the other primetime game we were highlighting, and that's the Eagles-Packers. You might be like, why are you guys highlighting games? You guys are just going with the whole – well, you know what? That's not the way this works. We just go with the primetime games. We're all going Eagles on this one because I don't think any of us, as DJ just said, trust anybody for the Packers at this point in time. No. So as you see the head shakes, no way. We have time, though, ladies and gentlemen, and it's my favorite time of the entire show. That's right. We have a brand new intro for it, ladies and gentlemen. So refreshing. And we're heading to the beautiful Tennessee Titans Stadium, and we're going to be here going for the Titans to pull it off against the Bengals. And as DJ has said so elegantly this episode, I don't trust anything the Bengals are doing without Jamar Chase and Joe Mixon. So there's no Jamar, there's no Joe. I don't trust them right now. So that's why I'm going Titans in this one. As, you know, Boom of the Week pick from Jim, Derrick Henry, I think has a great opportunity here. Anybody have a rebuttal? You got 30 seconds.
Yeah, you are making me nervous, but I don't know. Can I see a performance like Ryan Tannehill had last week again? That's what I want to see. That's
the answer is probably no. You get 2 of those a year, and I think he's already got 1 down. So I don't think you're getting the next one yet.
DJ, any reason the Bengals are going to pull it off instead of the Titans?
Joe Burrow's that dude, and their second half defense is the best in the league still.
There's still T. Higgins.
Yeah, there's still T. Higgins. You're right. There is still T. Higgins. There's still Tyler Boyd. There's still I don't know who this white dude is as a receiver, but he's still scoring points as well. So who knows at this point in time? Maybe Samaje P. Ryan goes off for 2 touchdowns. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what to expect anymore. But my island is the Titans. I'm riding with Mike Vrabel and the squad. And that'll do it for us for this week's episode of 4th and 4. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, we appreciate you tuning in, and we will see you guys next time.